guys, welcome back again from Tampa Bay. Got a beautiful afternoon. It's starting to really cool down. We got a storm blowing in. We got another live show tonight, and hopefully we're going to beat the rain. Should be okay. This is probably going to be a bit on the long side of a video. Whole bunch of topics I want to hit on here, and there's guaranteed going to be something for everybody in this. Did a factory reset on all my Cena gear. I've had this weird little glitch or static or pop. It's just random. I can't figure out if it was wind noise or when I would say something or if the volume changed. Not a clue. It just seems almost random, but it was only when I was talking. So it's not like an interference connection glitch or anything like that. So I'm hoping complete restore helps. It did start either right at the last firmware update for the 20S, or it may have been coincidental. I'm not sure, and I only updated that because that was required for the new app they came out with, which on paper seems pretty cool. Basically, it's a new Cena app that connects any of their later units to your smartphone, and then it just expands your connection network to anybody else running the app with their cell phones anywhere in the world. So you're no longer limited to the 2 to 3 mile range of communicator to communicator, and you could theoretically be talking to anybody at any time. But it seems that, well, I'm pretty much the only one I know still riding right now because it's in the middle of winter. So it'll be later this year before I can start really testing it out with friends and, you know, out of state or out of country. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, time zones become very important there, and well, the logistics of, hey, I can talk to my buddy and, you know, he's over in England, and well, yeah, that works great, except you're not actually out riding at the same time of the day because it's middle of the afternoon here and the middle of the night there, or vice versa. So I'll see when I start editing this video if I can still hear any of that. I have a sneaky suspicion I still will, because I do think it was related to the firmware, and sometimes doing the factory restore and then patching from there helps, but not always. So I want to talk a little about backups. I can't stress enough how important having backups of your computer and all your files is. There are so many people I know, I mean professionals and regular people alike, that have lost everything or thousands of dollars to get it back because of something going wrong. Now, I'm not going to go into a bunch of super details, but I will leave links down below to some apps that I use and recommend, and some instructions about some stuff that I'll talk about. First of all, I have to define what I mean by a backup of something. Those of you in IT or more experienced computers are probably going to shake your head at this, but no joke, I have run into a ton of people that think a backup simply means the information is on an external drive. That is not a backup. Backup has nothing to do with where it is. A backup means there's more than one of it. It doesn't matter if you store all of your stuff on a thumb drive or on your internal hard drive or an external drive. If you only have one copy of something, it is not backed up. Period. The point of doing a backup is when that one source fails, which everything does eventually, you're screwed. Sometimes you can pay thousands of dollars to get the information back if it's something really critical or irreplaceable in many cases, but sometimes it's gone. I mean, what if something gets stolen? What if you're traveling with a laptop and you've just taken the vacation of your life and you've got all your photos on that hard drive on your laptop and somebody steals it out of your luggage, and that was the only copy of everything you had? Well, you're screwed because you didn't have a backup. Now, obviously, that's a worst case and strange scenario, but it does happen, especially to a lot of professional photographers, and that's why when I go on a shoot and I'm traveling, I have 2 copies of the data, and I will have a copy, usually at least 2, sometimes 3, I might have the originals still on the cards, and I won't reuse a card during the vacation or during the shoot. I'll have a copy on the internal hard drive of the laptop, and I'll have a copy on an external hard drive that I bring along just to make backups. Now some, depends on the shoot, some will even go so far as to separately mail that hard drive back to themselves, so that in case the luggage itself goes missing entirely, you don't lose both copies. It really depends on circumstances. But what I want to talk about is the average consumer, maybe a little bit into the more professional computer user. The very minimum that anyone should have is a copy of their documents. And it's super easy to go to Walmart and get yourself a jump drive, get a 16 or a 32 or a 64, whatever you want to pony up for, thumb drive, just a USB drive. That is more than enough to hold anybody's normal documents. I'm talking their banking files, their tax files, their photos, family videos, everything that you're storing in the My Documents directory, or whatever they call it on Mac these days, that kind of stuff. That's going to hold all of that. And every so often, make a copy of it. Just copy it over to the thumb drive. That's all you have to do. Boom, you're all set. For the average user, they might have some normal applications installed, maybe a few little games, stuff like that, and Windows. And that's really about it. But all of that, that's easily reinstalled. Who cares? So bare minimum guy, he's looking at reinstalling Windows and copying back his documents off a thumb drive. For what, 30, 40 bucks tops for a really big jump drive? That's all it takes. And you're all set. And you don't even need to run software to do that. You just drag the file, make a copy. That's bare minimum, low effort. Now, getting into a more enthusiast, a more power user, a more experienced computer guy, well, you're going to have a lot more stuff. You're going to have more than just a basic Windows install and a few apps. You're going to probably have a whole bunch of stuff installed, and you're going to probably have things customized. And you know that when you install Windows and you set up a new computer, you're spending hours of your time and work just getting things right, installing everything. You might have a lot of special software for, say, video editing like me, and a whole bunch of different presets, and just hours and hours of work that you have to go through if you started from scratch to get it set up to where you're normally working. Well, backing that up saves you all that time, not only from anything bad happening, but if you want to move PCs, this is where something called an image backup comes into play. It is absolutely critical for anybody but bare minimum guy. And the cool thing is, you again don't need to pay for any kind of software to do it. The only thing you're going to need is space. All you need is a small external hard drive, at least. You can use a big one, of course. And if you're in a later version of Windows, it's all built in. I'll put a link down below with some instructions, but it's as simple as clicking a few next, and a couple checkboxes. And it basically makes a snapshot image, a copy of your entire C drive. Compresses it a little bit, throws it on the external hard drive, and you're done. I might do that once a year. Or if I've made some really big changes, say I don't know, decided to completely change my video card, I've got new drivers, I installed a whole bunch of new software. I made a lot of changes where it would take me a considerable amount of time again if I wanted to put it all back. I'll do another image. Doesn't take but a half an hour to make, and you're just waiting for it to copy over to the USB drive and you're done. Super easy. That's kind of like doing a single time machine copy on Mac. Windows does have some of the stuff built in. They just don't make it as obvious or quite as user-friendly. But it's still super easy and free. Now for working professionals like me, I'm a photographer. I do a lot of photography and video work these days, of course. Regular interval backups, meaning you're not just backing up that one snapshot. You need to back up every time pretty much anything gets added. Say I come back from a photo shoot, I dump the cards, copy the files from the cards to the computer so I can start working on them. I immediately back them up before I even start working on them. That way I've got 2 copies, I can take them off the cards and I don't have to worry about anything. Now here's where you get into a ton of choices, because there are probably 50 different backup software packages out there. I don't think there's one that's head and shoulders above the rest. They all have pros and cons. Acronis TrueImage is a very popular one. It's very well supported. It's been out for many, many years. Doesn't have any big flaws. And I would suggest that for the average user. It's easy, it's not expensive, and it's very reliable, and that's what you want. Now for the more enthusiast user, such as myself, you don't need to spend a dime, because there are excellent, completely free interval backup software packages that can even be somewhat automated. I use one from Microsoft called SyncToy. They don't publicize this. It's quite old. It's been out many, many years. It's as basic a backup software as you could possibly imagine, but for an experienced computer user, that's perfect. There's no fluff. So what I do whenever I need to back up something new, as far as data on the drives, new documents, new photos, new videos, etc., I use SyncToy. And that runs and makes a copy. Usually I'll put it on an external drive, sometimes on a cloud account. That's another option. Some people are worried about their entire house burning down. And if I was in an apartment, again, I lived in many apartments, frankly, I would be doing a cloud backup in addition to an external drive. A cloud backup simply means an internet backup service. That way there's also a copy of your data somewhere other than your physical residence. Because if you're living in an apartment, you might have the safest practices on the planet, but you're at the mercy of every other human and animal and electrical circuit in that building. And it could burn down at any moment, and there's nothing you can do about it. I hate apartments. So protect your data that way. If you're worried about anything physical happening to your building, that goes for offices too if they're shared. You never know what's going to happen. So even if you have a backup in an external drive, if the house burns down, both drives are gone. So it's kind of like a backup for your backup. But that is the extreme solution. You could also just go with the cloud account. However, the downside to doing that is the recovery time. If it's important to you that when you do need to recover that data, it's done so quickly, you want that on a local drive. You want to plug it into a USB port after you've fixed or built a new computer, and you want to start copying that immediately. If you just have a cloud backup service, the time is a lot longer, because number one, you're limited by your internet access speed. Sometimes you can pay extra and they will overnight you a physical hard drive with your data on it. That costs a lot more money, let me tell you. So that's the only downside to just going cloud. Usually people that are using cloud also have a local physical backup. But here's a couple cool things that many people probably don't know about. One is that you can back up your Facebook account. It's not just what you think though. It is everything. It's everything that you've ever done, even deleted stuff, even private stuff, all your messages, all your pictures, all your videos, everything that you've ever done, you can get. And you do that through your account settings. I'll put a link down below with instructions again. And it takes some time. It'll run and it'll let you know when it's ready to download, and then boom, they give you everything you've got. And it's basically this huge snapshot. If You know, you want to back up everything that you've done connected with Facebook. Here's another cool thing. You can do the same thing with Google, but it's even better. Of course, with Google, you know, you've got 20, 30 different Google products out there. I'm mainly interested in YouTube. It does allow you to completely get a backup copy of every one of your YouTube videos. The really cool thing is, it's a copy of the original video that you uploaded, not just the recompressed version that is shown on YouTube. You get the original back. Whatever you uploaded, they have a copy of, in addition to the 25, 30 different versions that they create to make all the different resolutions. The other cool thing is it not only gives you your video files, it gives you all your information about everything. Your playlists, your subscriptions, your history, everything. So basically, if your YouTube account is deleted or lost or whatever, somebody decides to, you know, delete all your stuff, like even YouTube, you've got a copy of it all. Of course, it'll take you forever to re-upload it if you're like me with thousands of videos, but you have it. That's the point. Now, the downside to that is it's ridiculously huge. You are going to need, well, it depends on who you are, of course, how many videos you've uploaded, how much storage you're going to need, but in my case, it spans several very large external drives. Cool thing is, really large external drives are right around the corner. There have been some very large leaps forward in storage technology very recently, and later on this year we will have drives 16 to 20 terabytes each for a single drive coming out. Now they're aimed at just being storage, not general use. They're going to be very good for things that you just need to put data on and get off, but don't need to be reading and writing and changing and updating and that kind of stuff. Not fast for general use, but excellent for cheap, large storage. I mean, that's huge. That's 2 to 3 times the average large drive right now. 6 to 8 terabytes is huge right now. So 16 to 20, heck yeah, in a single drive. And they do that using a few different technologies. One is using what's called shingled storage, and that's the way that the physical data is stored on the platters. Basically, it went from a sideways rectangle to standing them up and then also overlaying them like shingles on a roof. So it fits a little bit of the data of one underneath the next. Another is using more platters, stacking more records on top of them, and another is using helium inside it to get the needles even closer, so it all adds up. I certainly do look forward to when they're on the market so I can consolidate down to probably 2 of those large drives instead of a handful of them and having to swap them out depending on what I'm backing up. I can basically just have everything major on one and one for little daily spillover kind of stuff. It'll be so much more convenient not having a shelf full of external drives anymore. So some other cool news. I'm finally getting LASIK in just a few days. I picked up my prescriptions for some antibiotics that they want you to take ahead of time. Take those over the course of 2 days prior. And then some special eye drops for afterwards. Getting the all laser LASIK. I went in for my consultation the other day and I'm a prime candidate for it. Got a good price. So I'm looking forward to that. No more glasses. My vision's not bad, but they're glasses. They're annoying. No more smudges, no more forgetting to take care of them or not scratch them. No more hassles with the helmet. Just really looking forward to that. But I said I'll probably, as I get older, still need reading glasses, but that's the same as I am now. They can't do anything about that. That's the muscles changing in your eye as you age. Nothing to do with it being flawed. Right now I have an astigmatism. So basically anything past about 10 feet starts to double, and it gets a little blurry, but I get double vision horizontally. So it's really annoying, gives me a headache. So that's why I wear glasses. I could pass the vision eye test without them, but I always wear them. I did one year forget that I took the test with them on. This was many years ago. And I didn't usually wear them because I didn't need them. And I got pulled over, and the first question the cop asked me was, "Where are your glasses?" And my thought was, wow, how did he know I wear glasses? I didn't even know it was on my license. You know, I had them on during that day, so they marked them down as required. Oops. So I just kept them on from that day on. Okay, I'm home. I got another live show tonight. Hopefully the weather's going to hold out. Like I said, we got a storm moving in and a cold front. It's going to get chilly, but I've got my propane heater all set. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to see more, and we'll see you next time.